Warriors, I wanted to come to you. It's rather late at night here, and have a warrior rap with you. And yes, I'm wearing a ski sweater because the last couple of days in New York City have been freezing cold. And this morning was very, very cold. And when I started the day, and so I'm wearing this sweater, and now it's warming up. So it's a bit warm in here. But you know, warriors, it is all craziness. And I know you know this. So there's no point in dwelling on what's going on. I like to stay in the present, the future, come up with, talk about realities and come up with solutions and provide resources, because you don't want to get me started on everything, including our school system, including children, including Disney World. I do wish, though, that slap that we keep hearing about, that slap that happened on Sunday night, can you imagine if all of this talk and all of this media coverage was focused on human trafficking, sexual exploitation taking place all around us, all around our children? Can you imagine? But it's not. So that's why you come to the Warriors, because you want to learn things, you want to hear things you're not going to hear in the media. I had a very, well, they're all good weeks. We're getting a lot done. Here at the Warriors, we are forging ahead. We are protecting at the community level. And that is why it's so important for you to realize what's going on, know what's going on. And I had a wonderful guest today on my radio program on WVOX here in New York, Marion Kendall. And Marion is the executive director of Lifeway Network, based here in New York, 2 safe houses. Now, Marion and her team are boots on the ground. They are doing God's work. They are working with survivors of human trafficking. They are providing safe housing. They are providing empowerment. They are providing job skills, education. And their program, although small, is a model for what we need in the United States. And let me share a few facts with you. First of all, the website, I'm sorry, Warriors, is a little bit late, is lifewaynetwork.org. So I want all of you to go to lifewaynetwork.org. And their success rate has been 140 women over about a decade have graduated from their program, and none of them have returned to the life of trafficking. Now, that might not seem like a large number to you, but if we protect and get one person out of human trafficking, and for the rest of their lives, that is success in my book. So you've got 140 beautiful souls that have not gone back in. That's the success rate, because the program at Lifeway, and Lifeway is a partner of Lynn's Warriors, is to help a person reclaim their life. It's not good enough, I'm not going to be a prostitute anymore. You need medical attention. You need psychological attention. You need reassurance. You need job training. You need a job. You need housing. Lifeway Network. This is the real deal. And if we could have a Lifeway Network in every community, couple in every state at least, we'd be on our way to solving human trafficking. But Warriors, human trafficking, sexual exploitation, let's be honest here, is a big business. And nobody likes to disrupt the mighty dollar, although the Warriors is working very hard at, I have a whole different attitude. My attitude, again, is educating one person a day, helping one person a day, working with the NYPD, perhaps on an issue. Anything that will move us forward, will make a difference. That's the way I have to look at all of this, because I'm not stopping it. I'm not ending it. I'm ending it maybe for one person. That's the attitude you have to have. It's that almighty dollar. Always follow the dollar. Big business for everybody. And so I resent, if I really let myself think about it, that people prioritize that dollar over human dignity, over another person. What has happened to us as a society that we would sell our children, we would sell our wives, our sisters for a buck? So I want all of you, Lifeway Network. I'll also be speaking here in New York on May 12th. Lifeway is doing their event Toward a New Life. They do a yearly event. They haven't had anything in person in the last 2 years. You know why? I don't even want to say that dirty word that starts with a C anymore, because we couldn't get together in person. University Club this year, May 12th, 6:30 to 8:30. If you're in the area, you go on lifewaynetwork.org, go to linswarriors.org, save the date. Let me put up the ticketing information, which will go up tomorrow. Support the cause. Come hear me talk. I am there to uplift everybody. I am there to uplift the women in these two safe houses that, our idea is we help them and get them on track, and they become powerful survivor leaders and can go into the community and help more women and girls. So that's the story there. Mark your calendars, May 12th. I'd love to see all of you and meet you. University Club, which is 54th and 5th Avenue. And but we'll get to that. We have a little bit of time for that, but I got to start working on that and get organized and get people to come. It is a worthwhile cause. And you know what? Maybe you can't come because you live across the country. You can go on lifewaynetwork.org, go to the wish list they have. You can, you know what? Every little bit helps. You can buy some sponges. There's a whole list of cleaning products. The women take great pride in keeping these homes very clean, spotless, I dare say. And you'll be hearing more about the Warriors and Lifeway Network working together to create community. Because I was talking to Marion Kendall, executive director of Lifeway, and I had her in studio today, which was great. We just sat for the hour and talked about a lot of different issues. And we both agreed that there is no sense of community these days. And we were getting there. And then, of course, that COVID, there I said it, hit and isolated people further. And we've really lost a sense of true community. And that isolation, when you have people around you, whether it's family, friends, that can say, that's not a good idea, or why don't you try this, or let's talk about this. You can sort of formulate, we hope, an answer to something or take action that's appropriate. But if you're all on your own, have nobody, there's nothing in your head, that little voice telling you, a teenage girl might be hungry, doesn't have parental supervision, and might perform a sex act to get a hamburger. And I don't mean to be crude, but let's be realistic, warriors. So that being said, I did a newsletter, and I'd love for all of you, if you didn't sign up for it, to please go to linswarriors.org and scroll down right side. I do a weekly newsletter, because this week's newsletter, which went out today, it went out yesterday, and then I resent it today to those who haven't opened it. I just asked the question, where are the feminists? Because I'm working on helping our most vulnerable. And when I say our most vulnerable, the predators pick the easiest targets, and those are our most vulnerable. So those are in every different community, every different race, creed, color, whatever you want to say about this. It affects everybody in one way or the other. And so I started the newsletter. I had to say it. Somebody has to say it. I'm old enough to remember 1970, growing up, the Women's March. Now, granted, you watch the, whatever it was in those days, I think it was 7 o'clock evening news. And I was a kid who liked newspapers. My Jersey Star Ledger was my go-to. And weekends Sunday was the New York Times and Daily News. Remember when they're big and fat? Take you all day to go through that. I remember reading the newspapers about this. I remember the evening news. I remember our women neighbors talking about it. My mom, it was the Women's March in New York, in Washington. And so I went back and did a little research. All these women came together, every color, equity, equality. Let's work together. Let's, and all this, warriors. And so here we are 50 plus years later, and are women who call themselves progressive. That's what they call themselves. want the full decriminalization of the sex trade, warriors. There is nothing progressive about legalizing pimping, legalizing traffickers, legalizing brothels, legalizing illicit spas, legalizing sex buyers. Now, hear me out. We can all agree, every single person, decrim is great. We don't want those prostituted charged with anything. Why, after all, our studies are showing upwards to 97% of these people are from vulnerable communities and also do not want to be in the sex trade. That is trafficking, any kind of use of force, fraud, coercion. They're not in it because they want to be in it. So we can all agree we want to decriminalize those people. That is terrific. But we want to hold responsible those traffickers, pimps, brothel owners. So when somebody says full decriminalization of the sex trade, my go-to these days is, oh, yes, sure, that's legalizing pimping, traffickers, brothel owners, and the sex buyer. Now, don't give me that old argument. I've had it all thrown at me. You'll never win with me in a debate. We have truths and facts. We'd be here all night if I rattled off the studies that support the idea, even where prostitution is legal, countries such as Germany, Amsterdam, it doesn't work. These women are trafficked. They're not native women. In Germany, for instance, let me give you an example. They're all trafficked in from other places, mostly Eastern places in Eastern Europe, Africa. They have a trafficker, pimp behind them. This is where it's legal. They're not keeping their monies and they're forced. That is a definition of human trafficking. So I don't want to hear that old argument. And we want to intervene. I mean, we don't want, how is this progressive that women are calling for girls and women to be caught in this sex trade? And we know from studies, so don't give me this argument, maybe 5% of the entire sex trade is really out there. They want to control their bodies, own their bodies, be free, all that stuff. 95% do not want to be in the sex trade, do not want to be involved with this. You get the 5%, 95. I think you know where I'm going with this. How can these women call themselves progressive when they want to hold our most vulnerable in this oppressed lifestyle? Makes no sense, right? At all. So I asked where everybody took to the streets in 1970. I want 1970 all over again. Why aren't people in the streets screaming? You know, down the street from me, Times Square. Why aren't we in Times Square? I mean, I certainly go there. I certainly do things calling to lift our women and girls and all people out of this sex trade, out of this oppression. And I think you know the answer, because when there's money involved, human trafficking is a big business. Nonetheless, we forge ahead at the Warriors and Lifeway Network to protect and help people, and will always do so, because I guarantee you, all of this, Warriors, affects you in one way or the other. You might not think so. Let's break it down into the economy. All of this undocumented, illegal people coming over the border, and the surge will increase in the very near future very heavily. Removing Title 42, warmer weather always increases. We are already saying 1 million have come over since the beginning of the year. We expect another 1 million in the very near future. Title 42 will be lifted. Who knows how many more millions into our communities, into our school systems, into everything. And who do you think is paying for that? You and me. So I have a lot of problems with these progressive women, as an example, Warriors, calling for this full decrim when it's keeping people oppressed. So the trafficking is affecting all of us. We all have to get on board. We all have to know what's going on and talk about it. Before I continue, I want to throw out a great big thank you to all of you who have recently subscribed, listening, supporting the Warriors. It means everything to me. I am passionate. I have had a calling. I can't help myself. I have to help people and give them information they don't know, teach them, and also, intervene and prevent new victims, and also work with those who have been prostituted, those who are suffering. That's being an American. That's being a warrior. So I'm calling out all these women. What a nerve they have. I'm here in New York City, so, council members, young, 20s, 30 years old, all sticking to this same line about this is, pro sex trade, and it's a woman owning up. That's her empowerment. There's nothing empowering about being in the sex trade. That is what I want to share with you. And just thank you for being along with this ride. We have a lot of work to do. We have so many things we need to accomplish. We're accomplishing a lot every day. But by you subscribing to the Warriors, by you listening to me very late at night, um, you know, it means everything. If you take away one fact, if you talk to your child, if you share with your friend, if you're just aware, there are simple things. This is a tough subject. This is a hard subject. It's overwhelming. It's ugly, but it's reality. If you go on my Facebook or Twitter and just share one of those facts or read them, I want everybody to know indicators, what to look for with your children. I want you to be able to sit with your children and talk openly and honestly. We're not attacking the kids. We want to know what's going on. We're all on these devices together, laptops, computers, Chromebooks, phones. Let's talk about what platforms are you using? Oh, did you know this happens on that platform? Did you know? Age appropriate, I always say that. And a great company, Defend Young Minds. And that's about porn proofing your kids, because the algorithms are directing the children. It's also criminal warriors, but we have to talk about it because this is what's happening. The algorithms online are directing kids who may be innocently searching for something. They go that way into sexual. Every platform you and your children use, you can find trafficking. Now remember, even an image online shared is a form of human trafficking. It's something moving. So this sextortion that I'm so concerned about, I'm so concerned when our studies are showing 40% of 9 to 17-year-olds gladly share a nude image of themselves to a stranger. And that's what we know about. So it's probably higher, right? Because people don't report things. People don't talk about things. So you're going to buy this device. You're going to pay for the internet. You better darn well talk to your children, including teens. I don't care how fresh or whatever, you're paying for that device. I think we can all come together and have some ground rules to keep everybody safe. Because warriors, I could tell you stories about families where the child has been a part of this sextortion, how it destroys the family, ruins them for life. And I say for life because it's funny, because some survivors, I will call them brave survivors, who've had these images online. Remember, even if you take an image down, it's there, it's up in that cloud, it's been retweeted, it's been shared. With the internet, they tell me, even if they go in a supermarket, are those people staring at them because they saw them, on Pornhub, which is where these images end up on all these porn sites, so people can make money. If somebody walking down the street stares at them, it's 24/7. It's post-traumatic stress disorder. It never goes away with the internet because it's there forever. And I'm like, oh, I didn't actually think about it that way. So they're in constant trauma. They have good days and bad days, but can you imagine that constant trauma of a high school kid? Bad enough a photo could be shared around the school, then shared all around the universe, because that's what's happening. And we want to prevent that. This is happening in every town, city, and rural area in the United States. There are no exceptions. You can talk to your kids, do everything right, but their friends are going to show them stuff. The media is complicit for the most part. I have a couple of good allies in the media. We'll leave that for now. But, in giving you this normalization of the sex trade, shows like Euphoria, shows like Big Mouth, just everything, you know, even that slap. I'm bringing it up again because it has garnered so much media attention. Nobody should be attacking another person on worldwide television. Um, and it's acceptable. Whether that was staged or not, I don't know, but it's not acceptable. And there should have been consequences, right? Don't you agree? Somebody walks up on a stage and slaps you. Can you imagine if I got up, walked up to Chris Rock and slapped him? I'd be in jail right now, right? This is what the kids are seeing. We're shocked seeing this behavior. Can you imagine their what they're growing up around? So it's up to us to become that warrior in our home, in our communities, and really, get together with the kids and start talking about this, not attacking, not demanding, no yelling, no screaming, even though you want to sometimes. We have to leverage the internet for good. It's not going away. Things are getting worse with the metaverses, Web 3.0, but we're going to do that. We're going to just start getting together and talking about it. A couple of wonderful sites. I always recommend protectyoungeyes.com. And I try to give out as much free information and resources for you warriors. I don't want to burden anybody with additional expenses with our economy the way it's going and everything else, right? We have to worry now about bread and gas, and we want free. So protectyoungeyes.com. You have defendyoungminds.com. You have, it's a small fee, Bark, excellent, BARK, monitoring tool, because we can't be with the kids 24 hours a day. We can't watch everything. Bark does it for you. I think it's $5 a month for kids, maybe 10 and under, and then maybe it's $7.99 for the teenagers. But it alerts you to 30 plus apps, emails, text messages, inappropriate pics. And there's a free 1 week trial. So I would suggest that all of you go to bark.us, try that free 1 week trial. And you don't like it or don't want to spend a few bucks, but learn from that 1 week. And also most devices, and this is what I love about Protect Young Eyes, most devices have safety features and filters. Now the companies, big tech, make it very difficult. And why might that be? I think you can figure it out, warriors. To enact all of these things, but you got to know how to do it. And you can write to Chris at protectyoungeyes.com and he will guide you through. He also has wonderful nuggets, little videos of how you do certain things on his website. He's a partner of the Warriors. We adore him, and his work is without peer. And so you want to do that. You want to, with all of your TVs, the streaming, put those pins, because they are really warriors. I mean, Disney Plus, this Disney stuff I got to wake up to today. You can't say girl at the park. You can't say boy at the theme park. You got to call everybody dreamers. This is nonsense. And I do wish people, the only way, I'm thinking about that, all of this, how are we going to hold them accountable? Because big tech is running everything. We know this. We can agree on this. We can't rip our hair out over this. We've got to find a way to, hurt them. What hurts people? The pocketbook, right? The purse. So, I guess maybe don't go to Disney World. Okay. I guess maybe go to this fantastic resource, dirtydozenlist.com. Again, warriorsdirtydozenlist.com. 12 entities. This is an annual campaign from the National Center on Sexual Exploitation in Washington, D.C., a partner of the Warriors. They put out an annual campaign of 12 corporate entities that prioritize profit over our kids or human dignity. So you want to see what's on that list. Now, don't support those organizations. We have things like Twitter and Reddit, and we have OnlyFans. But more than that, there are 12 little boxes. If you go to the website, it will describe why they are one of the 12 entities we are after, why you should contact them. The work is all done for you. If you read these little boxes, you can then sign on, you add your name and hit the send button. It will go to that corporation. And that, if we get enough people, and we've had success in these campaigns before, they will change their ways or begin to address. And that is the only way to get at these corporate companies. When enough people stand up and say, no, we want you to put more age verification on your site. We want you to make it easier to put that safety, filter feature on. We want you, we need numbers, and they do keep numbers. And so if you go to dirtydozenlist.com, read about the 12 different entities. I would love for you. If you do one, I'm thankful. If you do all 12, I'm even more thankful. It only takes a couple of minutes because the work's done. You just have to add your name and hit send, and there you go. And hit them where the purse is, because that's all everybody cares about. I hate to keep saying it, but it's about money. Money is driving everything. So we've got to go after them where it's going to hurt them, because I have a fantastic study. And this study, and this is from 2018. So we know a lot has changed in 4 years, increased, I should say. The study saying that the cost of treating human trafficking, sexually exploited children, and I'll round the numbers off, is about $500 million. The untreated is another $500 million. So that's $1 trillion, right? No, it's $1 billion. Sorry, warriors, I'm a little tired. But we know in 4 years, so much more has escalated and increased. So we have all this, think about this, the cost of somebody trafficked, homeless, drug addicted, criminal court system, because a lot of these trafficked people are then forced through their traffickers, pimps, to other crimes, drugs, theft, all kinds of stuff. And they're then stuck in the criminal justice system, another money-making system. This is crazy, right? You don't want to get caught in any of this. You don't want your children to get caught in any of this. I am really concerned about all of this happening. And shockingly, every day, information being fed to me, whether it's the border, whether it's NYPD, whether it's dear Marion Kendall from Lifeway Network. We've got to take control. This is an American crisis. So again, warriors, I want all of you, I want to slap these progressive people, I want to say women, that want to hold our women and girls in the sex trade and hold all people in the sex trade. We don't want any of this. We want to uplift. We want to have families. We want to have faith. We want to have whatever we want to have. We don't want to have the sex trade, because remember, legalization means people who wouldn't have necessarily, and we have studies on all of this, because somebody challenged me recently and said, who are these people you're talking about? Because everything I say to you, I can have citations with from studies, but I just don't sit here and rattle off that to you. But I can prove all of this if need be. We have a study that says about, if it was legalized, the sex trade, about 20% of men who never would have gone to a prostitute are going to try it because there's no consequences. So what does that mean, warriors? That means in order to fill this increased demand, you need more people. And you need more people, you're going to traffic and victimize more people, right? It's very simple math. The demand is for children, younger, 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 better, better, better. And right now, the sex trade is counting on New York State to become, their words, not mine, the sex tourism capital of the country. So do you want to live next door to a brothel? Do you want a career day at your child's school to be a nurse, doctor, fireman, sex worker? By the way, we don't believe sex worker, that term, those two words. We don't believe sex is work, work is sex. That's us, we're warriors. So we want to fight all of this. And I'm in New York State, but I am telling you, warriors, this will be sweeping. It is percolating in many other states across the United States. It's not, I'm told New York State is kind of we're going to feel it out, see how it goes, and then sweep the country. And it's a very well financed campaign behind the scenes. We'll get into that another time. Fueled by the media. You can see it slipping. I can see it slipping into television shows where they use the term sex worker. I can see it, John Oliver, a couple of weeks back, February 27th, actually. So a month ago, on his HBO last night with John Oliver, did a whole segment about sex work. And he compared, sex work with Subway sandwiches. And he only talked to sex workers. And, he never took into consideration the other side. He never spoke to survivors or prostitutes working that want out. It was very one sided. So it's part of the media. This is their narrative, right? We can all agree. We have to fight that. We have to turn that off. We have to not listen. We have to block it all out. So you've got some homework, warriors. I don't want to give you too much to do. I do want to say once again, I am so appreciative you have subscribed to the Warriors. I have great things planned. I'm a one-woman warrior right now for the future. I'm working on many different events, things to come into your community. I'm going to be needing volunteers, helpers. So we're going to get going on all of that now that we're open for in-person events. Please always follow linswarriors.org. Donate. Every cent goes into warrior workshops, which are our educational programs for law enforcement, schools, community centers, but really parents. I've been focusing a lot on parents because we didn't grow up. Parents and grandparents, all trusted family members. The majority of us obviously did not grow up with the internet. Now it's here. 1996, been around a while. Our kids have all grown up with it. Our grandchildren certainly will be either born into this. So we've got to know what's going on. We've got to know how to take action. We've got to know how to leverage it for good. We've got to talk to the kids because big tech is not doing their jobs. They're not keeping people safe. Okay. Our government not doing enough to keep people safe. I also work on the city, state, and federal level with policy work, legislation, a lot of great things in the work. Earn It Act, Kids Online Safety Act, a couple of new bills that are pending, haven't been announced, all about the internet, will be in the very near future. A lot is percolating. A lot is, we have 44 attorney generals, 44 states have signed on to go after TikTok, including New York State, Tish James. New Jersey didn't sign on. California didn't sign on. It is a criminal enterprise, TikTok. There's trafficking going on, among other things. It's owned by ByteDance, Chinese company. There's a back door to all of these if you know how to do it. Remember, the predators are always one step in front of us. The law always lags behind technology. Every platform, whether it's Instagram and you can buy drugs, you can buy sex, it's all over. Okay. We have to learn. So I think my best bet a lot is talking to the parents and grandparents and family members, because remember, this is a family type of thing, and educating you how to talk to your kids and what to look for on these sites. And, don't let your child spend hours alone in a bedroom with a laptop. And I know you might like the peace and quiet and think that's great. Little Joey or Jamie, they're entertaining themselves. But in essence, most likely they're going to come across one of these predators. I know they will. And we've got to keep an eye on it. Okay. We've got to keep devices out in the public. We have to make sure those phones that you're paying for appropriate, in platforms. Gaming's a big problem. Keep an eye on the gaming. And with that, warriors, let me make sure I didn't miss anything else. Nope. I want to end this night with thanking all of you again for subscribing, for joining me on this journey, and for protecting your children and all your family members. Because again, warriors, this is an American crisis. So I want all of you, lifewaynetwork.org. Look for that May 12th event. And also lynswarriors.org at all times for information, resources. And if you do one thing for me, for the warriors, if you want to be a warrior, you will go to dirtydozenlist.com, look at those 12 entities, sign your name and hit the send button. Because together, I still believe as community, we can intervene, we can prevent new victims, we can help families. So join us, come along, be part of the movement. Let's get ahead of these predators. Let's do something. I'm going to sign off now, but we're going to come together again. I've got a couple of, actually tomorrow I'll be doing another video to share some other exciting news with you that's come just through today. So stay tuned. So with that, today and every day, be a warrior.